How are you guys? Welcome back to Wargame in China. Now, I've done a few videos this month, and I don't have two things: production standards or values. So, I'd subscribe if you don't want to miss anything. Now, we're back here today at Liangzia Dan, looking at defense of the 125th Division of Wang Shajun's 125th Division, and it's turn 6 of the war game of the game, turn 6, and what's happened? It's been a very interesting game, and the Chinese forces have had to contend with not only the six 75mm guns on table, but four 150mm guns off table, as well as the Japanese fielded two planes today. They a Babs and a GM3 or whatever it is, a Betty, and this led to some serious bombardment on the Chinese defensive lines. However, because, as I said, made some modifications how to play this army, the 22nd Army Group, and allowing for its high percentage of opium use, I didn't penalise or roll any morale factors for bombardment, because as I was advised, drugs would help you be very stoic under bombardment. So that was a special rule for the 22nd Army Group, and it seemed to work. Now, for the game itself, I allowed the game 8 turns, and I discussed the forces involved in the previous video, but basically the Chinese, the 120th Division I deployed as a regiment, as a rapid fire regiment, 12 infantry companies. I gave them two 81mm mortars, a 13.2mm autocannon, an old Type 14 or Type 11 37mm infantry gun, and 20mm Madsen. As well as this, there was 3 medium machine guns on the table for the Chinese. So as far as the 22nd Army goes, that was a vast improvement on firepower. Now, I discussed the use of suicide tactics en masse for this game, and indeed for this battle. The Sichuan army would stun the Japanese for its willingness to sacrifice men in order to annihilate the Japanese. So I played it as suicide. I dedicated 4 companies or 1 battalion to the role of suicide attack, and I placed 2 of the companies where they could counterattack any Japanese thrust up the rail line, which indeed they did. Here the first company was hidden, and when it revealed itself, it succeeded in knocking out the Type 94 tankette and the Sumida RSW armoured car. This resulted in 4 casualties for the suicide troops. The next time on this flank that they appeared again was to intercept and defeat what was left of the Japanese infantry and engage the bulldozer. They engaged the bulldozer successfully, but were beaten back by the Japanese infantry, or annihilated by the Japanese infantry. So over here on the Chinese left, although the Japanese are making some advance, they're paying heavily, but they have successfully close assaulted this trench, which the Chinese are now evacuating. I left it like this just for the for the photographic elements. I'll move them to the next cover. And on this flank, the Japanese, who were advancing with 2 infantry battalions, one behind the other, the 1st battalion successfully broke through the wire and took 2 trenches. It was then counter-attacked by the Chinese and driven out, and then driven out of this trench, and then it rolled for morale and had no effects of action. So having done that, the morale broke. So having done that, they bandside the nearest Chinese position, 1 company, and that Chinese position was totally overrun. And the other company went to ground in this emplacement. The Chinese, who lost the close assault, and as remember, I just left this like this for the photographic element, are now going to disengage the nearest cover, and as they do so, they're running past the 2 companies of suicide troops. They've been dedicated to suicide attack on this flank. So they are. It is Chinese turn 6 now. Just the end. It's the end of Japanese turn 6, beginning of Chinese turn 6. So there'll be morale rolls and things to roll, but it doesn't look very good for the Chinese. Not very good at all. But as I said, for this battle, because of the extra grenades, because it was the Sichuan army seemed so immune to whatever the Japanese could throw at them, and so willing to lay down their lives in counterattack and suicide attacks on tanks. Standard practice was strap loads of grenades to yourself with a central detonator and jump under a tank. And this worked for Type 94s, tankettes, but not so much for Hargos or Type 89s. So here, because the Japanese were attacking with Type 94 tankettes, it was a very successful tactic. Although only the Chinese, but still it was a tactic born out of sheer desperation. So I would say the Chinese are going to lose this battle, because we've got 2 infantry companies rolling back, infantry battalions rolling back, and I've only got the second one forward, so I'm going to have to roll 2 different morale rolls. And I don't mind pulling right now, because they could pull back to the second line and I could keep some of my support weapons, because some of this army would have struggled back to the second line of defense outside of the town of Tianzhen and around the station. We'll be looking at that battle probably in the next video. So if you don't want to miss, you should subscribe to that. As far as the battle went itself, there was a lot of close assault action to take the entrenchments, and obviously a lot of bayonet action on this side of the table, where 1 battalion was supporting the tankettes. Having lost 1 tankette, the morale roll for the Japanese was okay, but then having lost another heavy damage, the result was that the tanks had to, the one tank remaining had to withdraw. So the Japanese had no support left at all on this flank, except for no tracked support, no armoured support on this side of the table. I deployed these figures as on reverse slopes, so impervious to being sighted, except obviously for when the Japanese reconnaissance plane came. The Japanese bomber hit this line here and was pretty devastating, but as I said, because they didn't allow any morale factors for bombardment against the 22nd Army Group because of the high percentage of opium use, the casualties were high, but it didn't affect my morale, and they were still within the acceptable range before I had to throw for morale. So it was a good game. It's been a good game. We're going to finish it off now, and stay tuned, subscribe, because I'll probably do another one fairly shortly. Alright, hope you enjoyed that. See ya.